Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So today we're going to be talking about Dazzler 24. In the last episode, she had hired Power Man and Iron Fist to be her bodyguards against, Rogue and the brother, I should say, the sisterhood. And in the last issue, we saw Rogue basically saying, "I'm coming for you, Dazzler." So the first page, we see Rogue smashing in Dazzler's front door. And she realizes she's like, come out, it's no use hiding, but she realizes quickly she's not there. And she starts to leave, and then she decides, you know what, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for her. I'm gonna wait to see who shows up, so I'm just gonna wait. And she's like, it's awfully nice of her to leave these walnuts out. She's like, I love walnuts. Okay, I laugh because this has been turned into a meme where people just say, like, instead of her saying, I love walnuts, I love nuts. Um, just because, just it is funny though, this grimace on her face and her saying, I love walnuts. And it's supposed to be, kind of funny because or like you see it and you're like, because she's crushing the nuts in her hands just with her hands, when normally you need like, you know, a nutcracker to do that. So that's kind of, you know, a nod to her being super strong. But still, it just, like I said, it's become a meme in recent years because it's just funny to have a character say something random like that. Like, I love walnuts. Just seems very random. So anyway, um, Allison's neighbor is like, "Oh my gosh, Allison, don't go to your apartment. There's a crazy lady there." And, Allison says, "Does she look like this?" And he's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, Rogue." So she runs off to Power Man and Iron Fist and says, "Rogue is in my apartment right now." And so they go to her apartment in order to basically take care of Rogue. And um, Iron Fist hesitates and he just does defensive moves because Rogue's a girl and he doesn't really like fight girls. He still has this like little like, oh, I can't do that. So he just does defensive moves, which is wrong, which is not good because Rogue, basically chokes or, squeezes him so hard he passes out. And then you have Power Man and Rogue. They trade blows for a while until Rogue throws him out the building, like basically punches him through a wall, and he, you know, falls down. And I think this panel is interesting. This showing him his descent to the ground. I mean, it's just kind of a visually cool panel. And Dazzler immediately goes to Power Man and he was like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And he's like, I think so. I think I'll be okay." But she has Danny. And so Rogue, you know, I mean, Dazzler's like, "Oh my gosh." So she puts on her skates, but look, she has her purse. So obviously she got them from her purse when sometimes they just materialize out of nowhere. She puts on her skates, goes up to her apartment, sees Rogue leaving, and sees Iron Fist on the ground, on the floor. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I think I'll be okay. Is Luke okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, he'll be okay." So Rogue left her this note, basically, like um, a gun battle, you know, high noon, okay, corral, be there, and we're gonna take care of this. So Dazzler has adopted Warren's attire, the coat, the hat, sunglasses, all that. So she's not recognized. And she's been taking taxis and stuff, even though it's expensive, so that she can't be tracked as easily. So she's at the recording studio, I think laying down some background tracks, and like LB, her producer, asked her out. And she's like, "Oh no, I can't. My life is too crazy right now. I just can't." And which I find interesting because I guess it works better visually because he's like, "Huh? I don't understand. Crazy, like how?" Because if she had said, "Oh no, I have a boyfriend," he would have just been like, "Oh, okay." But instead, he has this kind of puzzled look on his face, like, "What's going on?" So I think that's why they had her say, that instead of, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." Because I feel like Ken is her boyfriend. Speaking of Ken, messed up on the color of his hair right here. They accidentally colored it blonde instead of red. And again, he's like, you should just stay here tonight. I'll protect you. And she's like, no, I can't stay here. Um, but she ends up falling asleep anyway, so, you know. And Ken's like, I'll protect you if need be, I swear it. So, again, here's Warren. He has rented this gym out for the afternoon for $1,000 because, you know, he's like a millionaire, billionaire. I can't remember which one, but he's super rich, so he can do that. And it's just because he wants to spread his wings, literally, um, because he doesn't want to risk flying like out in the open because that's pretty easy for, you know, the sisterhood to spot him. So he rents out this gym so he can do that instead. And Dazzler goes to visit her sister, and it's at college. It's pretty secluded, you know, quiet. Basically, Power Man, Iron Fist think, well, that would be kind of the perfect place for the Brotherhood to attack. But of course, Dazzler's not thinking about that. But there's Rogue. She's already there. And she sees her sister laying on the ground and she's like, Lois, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And she's like, I've, you know, headaches and fainting and stuff. And she's like, does that mean I'm a mutant like you? But they don't have time to discuss it because Rogue kicks the door in. And she's like, I basically tell me where Angel is. Because even though Mystique told her not to, that they were just going to leave Angel alone, um, Rogue goes after, you know, Angel, well, through Dazzler now. And plus, she has a score to settle with Dazzler. She wasn't happy that Dazzler basically, like, beat her last time. So she's like, where's Angel? And I think part of it also is that Rogue's trying to score points with Mystique, you know, make her proud, so to speak. That rhymed. I didn't mean for it to. So Dazzler says, I'm not telling you. And Rogue says, well, maybe if I rough up your, you know, basically your baby sister, you will tell me. And so Dazzler puts on her skates. And this next thing actually surprised me. I had forgotten about this. I was like, why did she do that? She goes through the glass window of the second story and like skates away. And I feel like she did that so that she could, you know, get Rogue away from her sister. But still, I'm like, you're lucky that you landed that and you didn't get totally cut up by glass. And anyway, that's pretty dramatic. So she dropped her radio because Rogue finds it, and she's like, I wonder if this is like a weapon or something. So she ducks into the library hoping to lose Rogue, but of course, Rogue finds her. She realizes she doesn't have a radio. So she goes into the like music room and unplugs everyone's ear jacks and turns the volume up really high. Tries to dazzle Rogue, doesn't work. Uses her lasers, and Rogue's like I really don't care if you kill these people because they're, you know, people, they're not mutants. But I know you're probably one of those people, like those mutants that actually care about humans. Are you really going to risk using your powers in here with the off chance of actually hurting one of them? So she's like, okay, fine, I need to dazzle her, like instead of trying to use my lasers. Doesn't work. Rogue actually steals her powers and was like, this is amazing. This is a blast. And oh, Danny comes in and says, is it a blast, Rogue, or is it a kick? Because he kicks her from behind. Power Man punches her down. And they're like, we should, you know, punch her and kick her some more just to make sure she's really down. And Dazzler's like, no, just leave her alone. And they're like, wait, what? And she said, Rogue, just leave us alone. You want to know the truth? Like, the X-Men are dead. Angel told me himself. Like, they're dead, dead. They're like zillions of miles away in space, dead. So, your vendetta against them, you know, there's no point to it. They're dead. And Rogue is like, well, now what do I do? Because her whole thing was Mystique wanted to get the X-Men, get back at the X-Men for foiling her plan to assassinate Senator Kelly. So now that the X-Men are dead, well, there's no point because they're dead. I mean, so Rogue's like, okay, I have to think about this. And Dazzler asked her, so are you going to leave me and Angel alone? And Rogue's like, my answer to that is, and she dazzles them. And I bet it sucks for Dazzler to be dazzled by her own powers. Now she knows how it feels. And Lois is like, I really don't feel good, and Dazzler, okay, I love Dazzler, but of course this is her own series and she's a bit of you know, a celebrity and well, she's trying to be a celebrity. She's trying to be a star. So she's a little bit self-centered. So when her sister again says, I'm not feeling good, I'm scared, like what does this mean for me? Like that I keep having fainting spells and headaches. And oh, Dazzler, I love her, but she's like, "Oh, don't worry. You're okay. I bet all you need are some vitamins." I mean, seriously? Like, yeah, wow. Okay. That makes me think of this one Golden Girls episode. I used to watch it with my sister because she discovered it because of course it wasn't on like when we were growing up or alive or anyway. She discovered it. I watched the whole thing with her. I mean, I still watch it like at least once a year because it makes me, you know, think of her and oh, okay. Anyway, sorry. Um, so in the episode, Dorothy, there's something wrong with her. And she goes to all these doctors and she's like, there's something wrong with me. And they're like, no, you're fine. Like, you know, they don't believe her. So basically, that's what it makes me think of that, they don't believe her. They're like, "Oh, you're fine. Don't worry. You just need to do this. It'll go away. Not a big deal." And so in the end, she finally does find out there's actually something wrong with her, and she feels vindicated because she's like, "I tried to tell you guys there was something really wrong with me, and you didn't believe me. So now I know at least that I'm not crazy, that there's actually something wrong with me." So that's what it made me think of, just because I know some doctors are like that. I mean, granted, I haven't had that experience, so I'm glad I haven't. But I know there are some doctors out there that are like, "Oh, you just need to do this, like get more sun or whatever, and you'll be fine." I mean, they don't actually listen like to their patients, which is sad. But like I said, not all doctors are like that. But I've heard some stories of people that are like, something's wrong with me, and they don't believe me and they're not helping me like they should, which like I said is sad. So in the next, I almost said episode, in the next issue it says Dazzler meets her deadliest fan, be here for the jagged edge. So that tells me it's like a stalker type story. So yeah. So I mean, if you're a celebrity and you're famous, you're probably gonna have stalkers, unfortunately, and like crazy people, which I think it just on unfortunately comes with the territory. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I know I've heard a lot of stories about celebrities that have had stalkers and it didn't go well. Didn't, yeah. They've done like crazy things, like break into their house and things like that in order to get souvenirs. So anyway, I will hope you will join me for that episode, issue, video, whatever. I hope you will join me for more videos. And until then, bye.